Perfect. So thank you for being here today again in this session, training session. Before beginning with the training session, I want to give you some information for the facilitators. Perhaps you've seen that you are invited to the Canvas, so you can access to the course and you can begin seeing the modules and the activities. But there's one aspect that you need to do before beginning to administrate the site. That's it, that you need to sign for the legal conditions. So we will send you a message next week for you to accept the legal issues of being a facilitator in the course. Mainly that means that you offer us the possibility of using your image and your voice, and also you accept the responsibility of being a facilitator till the end of the course. But you will receive this message at the end next week. Another thing we wanted to inform you is that we would like you to begin the journal, the facilitator's journal. We talk about that in a session already, but today I wanted to show you how to begin or how to create e-portfolios in the Canvas. That's the place where we want you to create the journal. So I'm gonna share the screen for you to see where you have to go for create this journal for facilitators. This journal wants to be a tool for you to explain your experience as facilitators in this MOOC, and you can do it public or share it with somebody if you want, and you can share feelings during the experience of the MOOC. So I'm sharing the screen now. If you have any question, you can do it using the questions and answer or directly. Okay, let's go here. So I'm now in the Canvas. You can see the screen, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And when you are in the Canvas, you have on your right some buttons. If you click on the settings, you will see that on your left appears the possibility of accessing to the e-portfolios. So you click here, and then you access to a screen where you can create as many portfolios as you need. But we just ask for create one, and you can say, for example, design, sorry. Portfolio. Okay. You want to go quickly, make the portfolio. Then you have the portfolio created, and you go to the home page. This works as similar to a wiki. So I recommend you to organize your portfolio in sections. Here on your left, you can go to organize section and say, for example, add a section, and is, for example, training. You can say here the MOOC. So you can create so many sections you need to organize this journal. If you go, for example, to the training section, then appears a page that is empty. You can edit this page. Sorry, you can create a page and then, oops. Put a name. And you can put here all your reflections or things. And you can make, you can allow comments in this page to others to access and say something to your journal. So save page. So you can create, as you can see, as many pages to a section as you need. Okay, you can go to the home and edit the page of the home, or you can go to another section and create more pages. So by default, this ePortfolio is private, but you can do it public. Go into the ePortfolio settings, and then you can say make it public and update. When you do so, you need to share the link to your portfolio with others. So that's a way you make visible your ePortfolio to the others. There's a tutorial of this tool that we've shared in the chat, and also you can find it in the question and answer. That's right, Mireia? Mm-hmm. So you can use it to see how to create sections, how to edit the pages. I think this tutorial is very clear, and it can be very useful for you to begin using the portfolio. So if you want, you can access the canvas, and I encourage you to create the portfolio and begin touching the functionalities of this tool. I don't know if you want to ask something. I suppose you need to access first and see how it works. Okay, so if you don't have any question, just Gisai, is your turn.
Okay, so thank you. And as Gemma mentioned, you should have access to the course. So I've posted the link again here so that you can see it. What I really want to do today is just start walking through the activities of the first week. And then after this session, I recommend that you just go through the activities and actually, experience the activities yourself. And then, any questions that you have, you can post on the group, right? So I'll share my screen. So you see, if you go into the course. And this is the first page that you see. This is the first page that participants would see, and it has just a quick 1-minute introduction. So I think it's very nicely done. This video is already on YouTube, so if you want to advertise the course and get more people to sign up, even though we already have quite a few people signed up, but it's always nice to have more, so you can use this video to promote it. I'll stop it now, but so you see here there's a quick description of the course, a link to the syllabus and so on. Well, as you can see, not much in the syllabus yet. So this is still under construction, and obviously, you'll see it as you go through the activities. This is why, at the moment, this is just available to you as a facilitators. We haven't opened it up to the wider, the general public yet, because we're still developing the content. But the next thing is really, if you look here under modules, you'll see each module is essentially a week. So if you scroll down here, you see the activities for each one of the weeks from now until week 5. If you go back to home, you also see some of the pages here listed, but on the side. But I think that's less. Sorry, less convenient. Probably better to go through the modules. And then let's look at week 1. You'll see there's actually a common structure to the week. So each week has a presentation that presents the theme for that week and gives a kind of an overview of the activities that we'll have that week. And then there's a series of activities, and then a convergence session. And then further reading, a survey, and a badge, right? And you see again, week 2 starts with a presentation, then a series of activities, and convergence session, further reading, a survey, and a badge. Okay. Um, if if you see, well, not a lot of people here with us online, but I mean in this session, so I assume there's more people watching the stream. So if you have any questions, just use the Q&A and ask questions as we go along. Okay, so let's have a look at the presentation. Oh, sorry, no, I meant to go to week 1, right? And let's see the presentation. And the presentation here is quite similar to what we had in the introduction facilitators meeting last week. It's kind of an overview of the design inquiry of learning model and a brief video that presents learning design studio frameworks and references to some reading. Right? So that's just like that. That's the first activity we have every week, just kind of presenting an overview. In this case, it's presenting an overview of the whole course, but then each week we have a short presentation, an overview or exposition of that. Now we go to the next activity, and you see that this is this activity will have a Google Hangout, which would be the way that we kick off the course. So we expect people to join that Hangout or watch it later at their own time, and after that we'd ask them to take answer the pre-course survey and join the discussion. Now, although this page itself is in English, you see up here that we have, I'm sorry, there's an English group that's missing here, but you see that we have 6 discussion groups. So the idea is that after watching or participating in the live kickoff event, when we say join the discussion, then people would join a discussion based on their language, right? So we have the common content, which is shared with everyone, and then we'll have the separate groups to discuss this content based on language. Okay, is that clear so far, or any questions at this point? Okay, so we'll move on to the next activity, and this is an activity where we ask the participants to create their design studio journal. So just like we ask you to create your journal, and we're asked, and also we'll be creating our journals. So again, there's a link here to the ePortfolio tool, and this is a link to the guide that explains how to create the ePortfolio. And as Gemma said, in order to create a portfolio, you go to Settings, and then select ePortfolio, and here you can create your ePortfolio, and you can create different pages or sections in the ePortfolio. As you can see, mine is already a bit messy because I'm new to this tool, so I was playing around with it and trying to understand it myself. Okay, so really, I think, and again, for you, the first thing we want you to do as early as you can this week is create your ePortfolio and create a section in that ePortfolio which you would use as your course journal, and maybe post a short entry introducing yourself there. Okay, once you've done that, then you can also post a link to your journal in the language group that's appropriate for you. So if you're going to be facilitating in Bulgarian, then you can post a link to your learning journal, sorry, to your course journal in the Bulgarian group, and so on. Okay. So Irma, when you said no questions, right? Or if yes, if there's any questions, again, just let me know. If not, I'll continue now. Okay, so that was the first activity, is to get people to create their journals and then to share the links to their journals, and that's a way of people introducing themselves to each other, and commenting on each other's journals, and and also, oh, sorry, I should have also mentioned, we ask people to pin a link to their journal on the course map. So this is also a way that we'll get a kind of a picture of how we're spread around the world. At the moment, again, we have the facilitators here, and obviously we expect to have all the participants, so this map would end up being quite dense, right? But it's nice because then you can zoom in and find people who are perhaps geographically close to you, and maybe meet them for a coffee, right? So that's a course map. Okay, so the next activity is what we call the Dream Bazaar, and I've mentioned this last week, but as I say, now you can actually go and experience this activity. Although I have to remind you that the instance of ILDE that we have here, ILDE being the Integrated Learning Design Environment. The instance of ILDE that we have here is not the actual one that we'll be using for the MOOC. So this is actually the instance of ILDE from Pilot 2, from last year's run of the MOOC. And what's good about this is that you see, we did a similar task at the Dream Bazaar in Pilot 1, and you can see, for instance, I'm just picking randomly. This is one of the participants who said, "Okay, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. I want to use blended learning in secondary education, specifically in this. Where is it? So, okay, I won't get too deeply into. I think this is again one of the participants from Greece in last year's run of the MOOC. So having actually having the entries from last year will be very valuable when we ask participants to post their dream. They'll be able to look at the entries from last year and get a sense of what we're expecting from them. Right. So like I said, the activity is to post something about what. Sorry, somebody there forgot to mute their microphone. Yeah. So like I said, oh, sorry, they have to share the language with language facilitator. Irma, sorry, I'm not sure I understand that question. Can you perhaps explain, Irma? Irma, can you hear me?
Yes, I don't know if she wants to say that the activities needs to be shared with the group of language, the concrete group of language, and with the facilitator of each language. The answer is yes, Irma. When some participants send the activity, they need to send the activity in the discussion in a concrete language.
Yes. So you see, almost every activity we have unless it's a necessity. We'll get to that in a minute. But almost every activity, you have activity 3. You create your dream. You post your dream page in ILDE, and then you share it in the discussion group based on your language, and you look at what other people have shared and comment on their work, right? So that's kind of a standard format, if you like, or standard pattern of most of the activities in the MOOC. You read something, you do something, you share it with others, and then you give feedback to your peers. And then, as you see here, there's also, you may want to post an entry in your learning journal. So after you've done this activity, it's maybe a good point to stop and reflect and think about, okay, what have I done so far in the MOOC? What have I learned? What did I like? What didn't I like? And so on, right? So this is the Dream Bazaar activity. And the next activity is what we call the peer mentoring part, or this is a peer review. So the idea is that we'll have the informal discussion in the discussion groups where anyone can look at anybody else's entry in the Dream Bazaar and comment on it and say, oh, look, this is quite similar to what I want to do, or, we're looking at, we're both working in secondary schools, or we're both English teachers, and maybe we could share some experience with one another. And then there will be a slightly more formal process of peer review. So I'm seeing this as a facilitator. Gemma, maybe you can share your screen and show how it would look from a participant's point of view.
Yes, I can do that. One
Okay.
moment.
So
And
I'll unshare my screen.
And do you want me to access to one activity?
Just so if you can show the peer mentoring activity 4, just show how
okay.
that's from.
Okay, then I will access to another course because this one has the activities locked for participants, but I think it will work. One moment. Now. Okay. Here, and can you see the? Yes.
I can see myself on your screen.
One moment. I do it again. Now.
You just need to select another tab, I think.
This. Now? Now, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is an activity of peer review. So when the student turn in, so they send the activity, they receive here on your right, you can see that there's assigned peer reviews. That means that I have to review the activity of this user that is called Tony Mann. If I access to the user, I can see the activity made by this student, and I can comment. I can use the rubric associated to this activity to establish what rate does this activity have. So I save, and the student will receive my comments and my rate in the rubric. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So, so I'll get back. So as you see, there's peer mentoring activity or dream in English, right? And if I click the next button, you see in French or in Spanish and so on. I can also actually, if I click here full course sequence, you can see that there's, activity 4, peer mentoring, and it's duplicated in all 7 languages, right? So the idea is that after participants do activity 3, the Dream Bazaar, they choose their language. Let's say I'll choose Bulgarian because my dad is Bulgarian. And then there's just a reminder of what the activity was, and it says you need to review the 3 dreams of your fellows, but first provide that link to your own link. So if I was a participant, there was a button here where I could submit my dream as my assignment for this activity, and then I would be the system automatically assigns the work of the dreams of 3 of my peers so that I can review them. And we will add, that's still missing, but we will add specific rubrics here of, how are you expected to evaluate somebody else's dream. I know it sounds funny to think about evaluating somebody else's dream, but in fact, obviously we're not evaluating their dreams, we're just evaluating the way that they express their dreams in the LDE. Okay? So that's an example of a peer mentoring activity. And again, if I go then back to modules, just to kind of save me clicking through each and every one of them, I'll jump to the convergence session. Now, the convergence session is a format that we've used very successfully both in the old MOOC and in the previous run of the hands-on ICT MOOC. The idea is that at the end of the week, we have very few kind of video presentations, right? Most of the course is really based on participants doing tasks and sharing the outputs of these tasks with each other. But we do want to kind of come together and share experiences and also explain what wasn't understood, what wasn't clear in those tasks, and so on. So at the end of each week, we'd have a session where we meet with, usually it will be the facilitators and 2 or 3, perhaps more other participants from your group. We'll have these sessions in parallel. And we discuss what we've been doing over the last week and answer any questions that come up, and then say a few words about what to expect from the next week. Right? So that's a convergence session. As I said, that's pretty much the last activity of the week. After that, you'll see a page of further reading. So that's references to various publications and, first of all, about learning design, then specifically about the Learning Design Studio, and then some more readings on learning design and general thoughts on design thinking. Finally, there will be a survey. Again, the link isn't available yet, but at the end of each week, we ask participants to fill in a survey reporting on their experiences from the week. Okay, so that's week 1. Week 2 would be really getting a more kind of structured analysis of context. We're using personas, sorry, factors and concerns, and then defining the objectives of the activity that they want to design. Right? So I think let's stop now and see if there are any questions or comments. So, yeah, Gemma, perhaps you should answer. I mean, do the participants need to
Yes.
complete all the activities in order to move on?
No, there's no need. They need to complete all the activities to earn the badge, but they can see all the weeks and access and participate if they don't have the the, the initial weeks complete. But if they want to earn or win the badge, they need to complete them. There's
Okay.
another question of Jean-Francois that was saying, will there be a peer mentoring activity every week? Yes, there will be. At the end of each week, they have to do the peer mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Irma was the question, we were wrong. She was asking that if the participants have to share their e-portfolio with the facilitator. We will encourage in the activity of the journal participants to share with everybody, but we ask them to share with 3 or 4 participants of the course, but they don't need to share with the facilitator. It's more interesting them to share with the others.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there's also a question there about the map that we showed, right? So I'll just, again, I think perhaps if the Charlton asked about the map, so again, I'll show that particular activity. Maybe I went through it very quickly. Sorry. Yeah, so this was activity 2 when we asked participants to set up their Learning Design Studio journal, right? And we asked them, I'll perhaps make this bigger so it's easier to, so we said, the journal is really a tool that you can use to collect your experiences and the products of your work throughout the course. So we asked them to create an e-portfolio, and within that e-portfolio, we asked them to create a section which is called the journal, and then share the link to that in the language in their forum. So depending on the language they speak, they'll share the link to their journal with their peers in that language group. But we also asked them to add a pin to in the map. So there's the participants map, right? Which is it's a Google map that anyone can add themselves on this map, right? So let's see if I can do that now myself. Okay, so I'm based in London, right? So I'll add a marker in London. And perhaps go to okay, so I put a pin on the map with my name and a link to my journal, right? And again, I encourage you all to do that as soon as possible. So we'll have, first of all, a map of all the facilitators, and then, so let's see who we have here. So I see people have started doing this. That's Theo, and you see he put some more text about himself. Paul Taylor, right, non-facilitator in the UK. So again, if you already put a pin on your map for yourself, see that's Jean-Francois, right? And Jean-Francois, perhaps you can edit your link, your pin, and add a link to your journal so that people can also find each other's journal more easily. Okay. So with that, that was addressing Charlton's question. Any other questions about the activities for week 1? Okay, so I think if there's no more questions, then I'll just give a very quick overview. Very quick overview of some of the activities of week 2, just in case some of you might want to rush a bit forward and have a look at those activities before next week's session. Right, so if we go again into modules, and we'll look at these in further detail next week. But again, I'll start with the presentation. And the presentation just just says, back to a general kind of description of the theme of this week. And the first task, or the first activity for that week, is about creating personas. Right? As you can see, we still have some comment that we put in for ourselves here, so this is still being edited, but you already have here links to various resources about personas, and that should explain, first of all, what is this creature called a persona, and why do we want people to create personas for their learning design. Basically, a persona is kind of an image of an imaginary learner or participant in an activity that you're about to design. The idea is that by creating personas, you anchor your design in the needs of actual users or actual learners. So rather than starting from, okay, this is a content I want to teach, you start by, these are the people, these are my learners, these are their needs, these are their strengths and constraints and desires and so on. And you look at the activity or the resource you're designing from their point of view. Right? So that's why we start with creating these personas. The next activity is about creating a sort of a structured table of understanding the context in which your innovation is going to be situated. So obviously, if you're going to design an activity or a resource for, say, a kindergarten in Slovenia, then it's a very different context than if you're designing something for a teacher training workshop in Paris, right? So in order to design something that's suitable for your needs or for your learners' needs, you need to first of all get some description of the context in which you're working. So we have some explanation about what we're looking for in terms of a context, and then there's a broken image here, and then we'll ask.
Sorry, Gisai.
Yes.
Could you share the screen?
Oh, sorry.
No, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. So I didn't notice I wasn't sure. Sorry. So let's quickly go back one activity again, because we were talking about the personas concept. Right, so you'll see there's some resources here about personas. There's an example persona as a video, and then we ask So we asked students to have a look at a few personas and discuss the persona concept and see how it's relevant for their uh, for their work. Um, the next element we look at is a description of factors and concerns, and here we use the ILDE, and we use one of the templates that the ILDE provides, which just gives kind of a framework for describing factors and concerns which characterize a certain context. So we're asking each one of the participants to create a document which describes the context in which their project will be situated. We'll also, so here in conceptual, you can see there's also, if we're talking about personas, there's a template for describing a persona, right? And we would ask participants to use this as well. But that, and again, I'm just going through these things quickly because, like I said, this is something that we would go in more depth into next week. So getting back to the overview of week 2, so you see that we start by looking at personas, analyzing context, creating their own personas, specifying the objectives of the learning activity, and then specifying heuristics that would help them measure whether their objectives have been met. So quite a lot of new concepts to deal with in 1 week, quite a lot of things to create, but hopefully by week 2 the participants already passed the initial shock of the new environment and the new dynamics of this course, and they're ready to really get their hands deep into this work. Okay, like I said, just a quick overview, so I'll stop here and answer any questions. So Denzel, so the activities are not time-based. Once we finish kind of brushing up, polishing up all the activities in the MOOC, they will be available, and participants can not only can they do them at their own pace, but they can also go back and revisit previous activities. So you might be in week 3 and realize that you want to go back and refine your personas from week 2. That's fine. There's no strict time limits anyway. The only thing is that you're going through a course with a cohort, so it makes sense to see other people's personas when you're writing your own personas, and other people's prototypes when you're developing your prototype. So that's the only kind of time consideration, is that in terms of the learning process, it obviously is more effective if you are synchronized with the other participants. Okay, any last questions? Any more questions at this point? I mean, I suppose that, again, you've just been given access to the platform today, so I assume that once you start playing around with it and create your own profiles and portfolios and start experiencing the various activities, you'll have more questions, and we'll be there on the facilitators group to answer your questions. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, Jenna, so back to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ishay, for the overview of the Canvas and its activities. Then still asks something. I say, am I correct that this activity? Ya la respondí, perdón, sorry. Okay. Then I think there's no more questions. So again, say that the canvas is under construction. So perhaps during this week you can see little change, but it's because we are still working on the activities and the organization of them in the canvas. But again, I encourage you to access and see all that Gisai have been presenting today. So thank you very much for being today here, and see you next week.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye. Goodbye.
Thank you, Gemma. Bye-bye.
Bye.